I'm not gonna lie, it was freaking sweet because the Saints traded up and people were like, "Oh no, are they gonna draft a quarterback?" And bang, they get Jameis 2 weapons. I was just so hyped, to see him kind of go in on this season with Winston coming back from that ACL surgery. And we should also mention, he got another weapon in his hand this week. He got his college degree, so shout out to him for coming back and completing that at Florida State and graduating alongside Jordan Travis.
Hey, that was a wild term for a degree.
That was completely wild.
Hey guys, it's Terrence Mann. You're listening to Hear the Spear, presented by Noel Game Day. Go Noles.
Hey, what's up? This is Peter Ward, aka E-Dub, in the house. We're listening to Hear the Spear, presented by Noel Game Day. Go live, go Noles.
Hi, this is Charlie Ward, and you're listening to Hear the Spear. Go Noles.
This is Terrell Buckley. You're listening to Hear the Spear, presented by Noel Game Day. No Bloody.
But perhaps better known as the greatest corner to ever step on a football field, Deion Primetime Sanders.
Great Deion Sanders, my brother. What's going on, man? I could wake up to that greeting every day, man. That was awesome.
Hello, Noles fans. This is former Seminole Derek Brooks, and you're listening to Hear the Spear, presented to you by Noel Game Day.
James Wilder Jr. What's going on, James?
Thanks for having me on. SSOD, Florida State or Die, and go Noles.
William Bar None Floyd.
Gentlemen, what's up?
What is happening, guys? This is Logan Robinson from Hear the Spear, presented to you by NoelGameDay.com. We are here on a wonderful and fantastic Thursday evening with the entire crew. D-Lou is back. Still got the Celtics in the playoffs. We'll see how much longer that lasts. Nate will give us the rundown if that will last much longer. I don't think it's going to last, right, Nate? No, he's not in his head. Nodding his head, no.
Good rundown there. Just
a no. The people on video at least know the answer. But we're here on a Thursday, a week after the NFL draft. Gives you just a whole 7 days to just really confine all the details and information and all the grades you saw online. And this is where you end up at the very end of it. And we'll give you the rundown on what we thought of the draft overall. Jermaine Johnson to the Jets. I've got a few things to say about maybe some things that people were saying online about him dropping and just some silly things. And I'm sure Nate saw some stuff. I saw you tweeting too. And then we'll talk about some other Noles finding opportunities in the NFL, including Deshaun, Corbin, Keir Thomas, and others. Defensive tackle medically DQ'd today. We got the news of that. And then we've got a Charlotte offensive lineman, as we all know, Alex Atkins' former gig, offensive lineman entering the transfer portal. So got some info on that. And then we've got Rising Spear and Warpath, those two collectives merging up. We are officially in the off season where news we are talking about is collectives. So that's one of our highlights. Gentlemen, how are we doing? Are we feeling good? We're getting close to summertime, my favorite time of the year. So I feel really great. I don't know about y'all. And it's close to my birthday. My birthday's in August, so I'm hoping, these guys here will give me a good gift.
Huh.
Yeah, you ain't getting shit after you didn't even give me a wedding gift, so.
There you go. It's still coming. It's in the mail.
It's been 4 months, man. I gave up on you a long time ago, just like the majority of my wedding party, so shout out to you guys.
Dang. You took a shot at them,
you
too?
You kind of just ruined my week, honestly.
Wow. Did you take a shot at them, too? Dang.
Just move on.
I'm sorry for what I did to you, VZ and Nate, for having him go off on y'all like that. I'm sorry about that.
Not them. I didn't expect anything from them, but
damn.
We didn't go.
Don't worry. Like I said, D-Lo, it's going to come to a surprise. You just got to give it a little bit more time.
But you were in the wedding, though.
I was off to the side. I was like the farthest best man.
There's no excuse. You were in a tuxedo. Or a suit, whatever.
Yeah.
You were in the wedding.
I was farthest off, though. I was at the very end.
It doesn't matter.
Like I was even behind. I was farther off than the person that was in front of me.
I'm pretty sure the flower girl got him something.
Did they?
Yeah, the flower girl was my grandma, so yeah, she got me a gift.
Okay, that's hard competition there. That's hard competition for me to deal with. Well, I hope everybody's enjoying the podcast start so far. If always, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. We go live every Thursday evening. Moving forward, though, we are going to start lining up guests. That's already in the works, talking about current players, current staff members, former Noles, basketball, everything imaginable. We're going to try to get them on here for you guys to head into the summer because content is drying up. So we're going to try to give you guys some entertaining content, hopefully, throughout the next couple of months.
Not everything, Some others got it on lock.
They've got some on lock?
What?
Some other podcasts.
Oh, yeah, no, we're going to find some high priority A1 celebs on here and try to give some entertainment. But let's start off with recapping the draft. How do y'all like it? I thought this was a lot more entertaining than previous ones, and I kind of expected. I think we talked about it. I said there's so many different things that could go different ways. There might not be star athletes. We already know who maybe number one, number two is like previous drafts. This one, it was a total kind of not a total toss up, but it was just entertaining throughout. A lot of trades. You got a different kind of guy who was supposed to be number one for the last 3 months, and that changes in the last week or so, and ends up going to Jacksonville. How'd y'all feel? I thought it was a pretty fun night on Thursday.
Yeah, yeah,
really fun draft. Dustin, I don't know why Dustin's talking. He doesn't really watch the draft.
I watched the entire draft this year. Every single round, just about every single pick. Especially the Buccaneers picks because of our Bucs game day coverage. But it was a crazy draft. I mean, there was a ton of trades. There was definitely some surprising picks. I mean, you look in the first round, Steelers got the quarterback with the smallest hands in the draft, Kenny Pickett. So
the hometown
excited
kid.
to see what he can do.
I know Logan will love that.
All the Malik Willis talk, and
yep,
you get a guy whose hands are smaller than mine.
Yeah, well, that's not saying too much there, but yeah, no, that was really exciting being there in the media room, and I was talking to the guy. I'd made friends with him. He was also a kind of a rookie in there with me, our first time being down there in the Bucs facilities, and I was telling him, yo, this is it. I'm about to get Malik Willis. I had the tweets ready. You should have seen all the drafts. I had like 3 tweets and drafts ready to go in 15-minute increments. When I saw it come through on the screen, because everything was muted in there just for that time being because they were about to get press conference stuff going, I almost passed out. I thought we were getting Malik Willis, and you know what? I looked at some Kenny Pickett highlights, and I feel a little bit better. But once again, the Steelers do what, except for Najee Harris. I did get Najee Harris last year, so maybe I can't be too greedy, but I like what they did for the rest of the draft, though. Pickens, man, what a steal. I know we talked about him, Nate, last week, but I had never thought that he'd have a chance with coming to us. And we need a wide receiver. You lose Juju, and so we go in and grab Pickens.
All the talent in this draft, Pickens could be the best of the bunch. He's super talented, but I love the fact that Pittsburgh took Pickett because they're going to suck for quite a while now.
Yeah, exactly.
Great to see.
Yeah,
that QB battle between Trubisky and Kenny Pickett is going to be one of the most boring of the entire offseason.
They should put that out. That should be a Hard Knocks right there.
Yeah.
That was your ratings.
Yeah, exactly.
Tom being like, I should have retired last year with that.
No, yeah. It should honestly be.
I don't understand Walker going first. I know the attributes and everything. The production wasn't there, but I understand the athletic ability. Stingley going third.
That was a huge shot.
Kind of surprised about that, but I guess he's healthy, and apparently he was just dominating these, team meetings and his workouts and that stuff. So, I mean, 3 seemed a little bit high, but the quarterbacks, I think it's just a really bad quarterback draft this year. But, we'll talk about Jermaine, but I think the Jets had the best draft.
It was crazy to see only one quarterback go in the first 2 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though everyone says it's a bad quarterback class, we all at least expected maybe 2 in the first round, someone pick one up in the second round, but, we didn't have another one until Desmond Ridder. What pick was that? Like 76 or something to Atlanta? Like it was It was super late.
I mean, talk about like he's not in the draft, but entering last fall, it was Sam Howell and Spencer Rattler as potential number 1 picks in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Rattler gets benched for a freshman. He's not at South Carolina, and Sam Howell goes 5th round to Washington. You know,
and they had to tell Carson once, "Hey, we're taking a quarterback in the 5th round." That was hilarious.
Yeah.
What do you think about it, D-Lou? Since you said you were invested this time for the first time ever, how did you feel taking your virginity way of watching the NFL draft like a real man?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched the NFL draft before. I'm just not going to sit there typically and watch all 7 rounds. I could care less about that. The first round I typically watch, but like Austin and Nate kind of said, I thought there would be some reaches on quarterbacks. It really the Pickett pick surprised the heck out of me. That was a pretty funny moment, but just overall, you know, there was a significant focus on what felt like edge rushers and defensive backs early on. And like you said, Nate, I thought the Jets blew it away to grab Sauce Gardner, the wide receiver from Ohio State, and then trade back in to get Jermaine Johnson. I mean, heck of a day for them.
Yeah, they got Breece Hall at the top of the 2nd round. Like, they had a heck of a draft.
Yeah,
I was talking about them
starting right away.
Was I the one that was getting shit on last week or the week before about the Jets, where I was saying that they're a team that's going to make a push? Maybe might not be just this year, but I think they're on the rise for sure.
I mean, they're built for it now. It all depends on Zach Wilson.
They grabbed an offensive lineman, right?
They
needed one.
Not in the first.
Sure.
Not in the first, but did they grab one in the 2nd?
I'm looking right now. No, because then they got Ruckert, the tight end, in the 3rd round, and then they drafted Max Mitchell from the Cajuns in the 4th round. So you got to tackle there, but probably won't play right away.
And then Detroit coming all the way up, 20 spots for Jameson Williams.
I don't want to talk about that. I was so upset when that happened because that was our pick. It was the Vikings pick. And we trade back 20 spots with our division rival going, "Hey, you want a wide receiver? The last good receiver on the board? Yeah, here you go." Not only division rival, but losing the trade.
Didn't the Vikings trade their top 2 picks?
Mm-hmm.
Sort of, because we got 32, 34, and 66 from Detroit, and then we gave them 12 and 46. I didn't understand it. I really didn't.
You know what's crazy is that we were in the media room down in Tampa, and boom, Jermaine Johnson is falling out of nowhere, and we can get to talking about him. And, you know, we didn't expect that. Nobody on here was expecting Jermaine to fall this far. And, you know, we're like, oh, the Bucs are seriously about to grab Jermaine Johnson, just about to fall on their lap. And I think once the Jets moved up, the Bucs were like, okay, well, we can push and trade back, which helped them. But, you know, I thought for sure, you know, Jermaine was about to head down to Tampa, which would have been just awesome. I would have loved it. Just for content reasons alone for NG and BG, God almighty, we would have been like losing our minds. But the Jets make a move, and I was on the show with a lot of the Jets guys and Damian Woody too, and you know they were really high on Jermaine and they wanted him. And out of nowhere, the Jets able to grab one of the top corners and one of the top wide receivers, and then you grab a top 3 defensive end just like that. I mean, what a draft!
All 3 were in their top 9 on their personnel board, apparently, top 8, whatever. So, I mean, that's a home run for them. You know, in terms of FSU, I mean, Jermaine being the only player drafted, you know, kind of surprising. I thought at least Kier would get a late pick, and I thought Corbin would go mid rounds, like we talked about last week. But it just tells you the state of the program, and anyone who was draft eligible was all transfers. So,
yeah. Go ahead.
Just real quick on the Jets again. I was listening to Peter Schrager on Bill Simmons' podcast last night, and he was saying once Jermaine got past 15, the Jets were calling every single team, trying to trade back up and get him. And finally, they got him at 26, which is unbelievable.
We never thought that. We had no idea that would happen.
No,
I wonder what they were hearing.
Surprise of the first round for me. I was sitting there. I had the article ready to go, and I had it written up. I was like, Jermaine Johnson gets drafted in the top 5 because we heard about those rumors for the 4th pick. Then he fell, and I was like, all right. So I changed it to top 10. Then I changed it to top 15, then top 20, And then I was like, all right, just first round pick
Yeah.
from here on out. And then like you said, Logan, it gets to the pick before Tampa Bay, and I'm like, wow,
this is
Tampa
about to
Bay
happen.
Need someone off the edge. It's a pick before. The Titans aren't going to pick him, and of course the Jets trade right in front of them and take him from there. The Bucks trade out, and just so close.
Just like
it would have been fun to have a chance to cover him again.
Yeah, absolutely. To have him down there in Tampa, because we'll be there a lot, definitely for training camps and such this summer. But for him to go down there, it would have been a fantastic night. You get a combination of Jermaine Johnson going to the Bucks, and then also, well, on BG's side, we didn't actually get to report on a player getting picked in the first round, so that hurt us. So actually being able to combine both of those would have helped, but can't be greedy, I guess. Can't be greedy. But I wasn't expecting him to drop. And I think people, I don't know, we were starting to hear rumblings on Twitter and,
character concerns.
Sometimes it's the character concerns. I saw your tweet on it too, Nate. But I don't understand fully on that. And going back to a Climb episode, one came out today, but there was one last week. And the things that we see him at practice, the way that we see him at pro day, hands-on, supportive, talking to younger players. He did this all during the fall last year during the season, going up to players, being a leader. It's a whole 180 from what maybe those people were hearing on Twitter. And, those aren't, I feel like those people are just told things left and right, and maybe looking at him, just the image or such, because let's be real. He's an alpha male, and that's, God forbid, this isn't friggin' tennis. It's not soccer. Sorry to the soccer and tennis people out there. But God forbid he be an alpha guy. But for him to be the kind of character he was, and the production he did in 1 year in one system, not even a year, just 8 months, 7 months that he was in Tallahassee playing for Mike Norvell and buying into that system. And then just to see the Climb episode 2 weeks ago, and just little things where he's over there dapping up every single player before the spring game he was in attendance for in the tunnel, hyping them up, getting them ready to go out where, the cameras weren't even on him. I just was able to catch him a couple of yards down the tunnel and seeing him down there and dapping him up. It's just those little things that you catch your eye. And I don't know. The Jets got an absolute steal. I'm pulling for him now. I think he'll work well in that system too. And they have an up and coming defense, and so I don't know. I don't understand the whole character crap.
I think it was age. I think it was age, because if you look at everyone that was, especially the top 10, like let's just look at the top 10. No one was older than 21. I think maybe one 22-year-old. Then Jermaine Johnson right now is 23. He's gonna be 24 before the season's over. The only two players drafted that were older in the first round were Kenny Pickett and Devontae Wyatt. That's it. It was just those two guys. So, I mean, and those were both back half of the first round. You only see guys, especially these days, you don't see teams take high picks on older players. It just doesn't happen. I don't think really any of us consider that, because we all just say, oh, Jermaine Johnson's elite talent. But if you can have a 21-year-old guy of, Kayvon Thibodeau or whoever, instead of a 24-year-old in Jermaine Johnson, I guess it makes sense, but definitely sucked to see him slide.
There had to be someone that they interviewed doing the background check where it had to be someone to say something about him that triggered them to say something, because, they dissect these guys from the time they were born until, they sign with an agent and go through the process. So they're just under the microscope. So, maybe they didn't like that he left Georgia, or he was a JUCO. Who knows? But I don't understand the character issues. He's cocky, but that's fine, man.
Yeah, I mean, but there's some teams that like that he bet on himself. I heard that a couple of times on podcasts this week too. The teams love that he bet on himself and he won. He went to Florida State, was the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. Like, teams love that.
He left Georgia, which we can all admit that is a significantly better program right now than FSU. Probably could have still gotten drafted, but like you said, he bet on himself, came to Florida State, and produced an All-American type season. So I don't understand the character concerns. For me, that is just a reach.
Just feels like a generic excuse. I mean, a lot of the draft analysts nationally had him projected pretty high, and he starts dropping. So, of course, on TV, they're like, what's going on with Jermaine Johnson? Oh, we're hearing he has some character concerns. I mean, you can say that every year whenever some prospect starts sliding down the board. And we've seen firsthand, at least publicly, that Jermaine Johnson doesn't have very many character concerns. You pointed out him doing the little things, and that's all he's done. You know, he didn't have to come back to Tallahassee and attend these spring practices. He didn't have to be at the spring game and show support. That was stuff he did because he's just a good dude. So they can call it character concerns. Either way, as you guys have hinted, Jets got a big time steal here. And that's why they come out of the first round with an A+. I mean, to get a guy like that at 26.
I think they said it on NFL Network where like someone brought up character concerns. I think it was Daniel Jamar's like, I don't believe it all.
Yeah.
It's like they just brush this out real quick. It's like, you know, people are always going to say something starts falling because there has to be some reason. You know, there's never not a reason. So everyone was saying that with Nakobe Dean, even though his shoulders are shot.
Like I said in that tweet, you know, the last few FSU players that kind of dropped in the draft have been spectacular. So hopefully he can continue that trend.
Yeah, who can we name out the list for that because it's actually pretty significant? Dalvin
Derwin, Brian Burns.
I mean, it's astonishing how that just continues to happen.
Does Asante make the list?
No,
he went about where we all thought he would.
Yeah.
The thing with the list Nate gives, the only one that's like Brian Burns. Why did he go so late? You know, premium position, super young, lawn athletic, produced. Like there was no reason for him to go outside the top 10, and he went 16? I think it was. You know, Durham plays safety. Safeties aren't valued that much. We talked about that.
Plus, he had the knee.
You know, yeah, a lot of injuries in college. Dalvin, same thing, banged up shoulder. Then these rumors come out about character concerns. So, you know, it kind of made sense, but Burns made no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, they're trying to bring up Dalvin's arrest record when he was a minor and all this stuff is just stupid. But
shout out to his brother going to the Bills. Yep. That's fun.
Bills and the Vikings play this year too.
Oh, brother versus brother. Hell yeah. That's something
I got Dalvin going for 200.
Brother should have came to Tallahassee. Oh man. Yeah, no, it was cool. You saw Mike Ravell was there too. Mike was there in attendance. Saw that.
Jason Brown was there.
I know. No, I wanted to have him on. I wanted to have him on the pod, dude. I feel like he would be just entertainment.
The three of us shot it down.
Yeah. I was like, well, I'm going to have to do a solo dolo with him then. There would be a lot of F-bombs and whatever I would just have to say before it. Or instead of our regular intro, it would just be me saying, make sure you're not near children.
If you haven't watched Last Chance U.
Yeah. Yeah, you might not want to click on this interview.
We just need you to do some actual editing work and just bleep it all out. I mean,
oh God.
With him, that would take longer than the
organic. No. We wanted organic. Nowadays, you know, we went through that wave like 2-3 years ago where everything had to be muted. And now we're back to raw organic content, which I want now in sports media. We're back. We get to talk how we want to talk.
We're explicit now. It's fine. We got the little E next to our podcast
I make sure that's on there. Dustin blew a shit bomb in the first 2 minutes of the podcast. So.
Well, it was a deserved one.
No, you're about to say me though. You're about to say Nate.
Not you yet, but it will come. It will definitely
yours is coming. I would say yours is coming.
Yeah,
I got the swear jar over here. It's pretty much full after the last couple weeks.
Mama Lewis is going to be texting you after this. No, how about Jameis getting some weapons? I'll start off with Chris Olave, though. Really,
it went like how I said it would when I said they traded for those 2 first-round picks. I said they're going to try and get stuff to win this year, not build for the coming years because the Saints want to win now. So they go out and get a left tackle and they get a receiver. It's exactly what they needed.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, it was freaking sweet because the Saints traded up and people were like, "Oh no, are they going to draft a quarterback?" And bang, they get Jameis 2 weapons. I was just so hyped, to see him kind of go in on this season. With Winston coming back from that ACL surgery. And we should also mention, he got another weapon in his hand this week. He got his college degree. So shout out to him for coming back and completing that at Florida State and graduating alongside Jordan Travis.
Yeah, that was a wild term for a degree.
That was completely wild.
I wish they took Jameson Williams instead
Look
of Chris
at my
Olave,
weapons
though.
on the wall back there.
I think Olave fits that offense with his ability to get down the field. Jameis, we know Jameis likes to throw the deep ball. I think that fits. And if Michael Thomas comes, he's a turd, but if Michael Thomas comes back and can be what he was before, I mean,
Jameson was one of the fastest guys in the draft.
Yeah,
I mean, you talk about a deep threat.
Well, he went before the Saints pick, though, right?
No. Olave went 11, and then Williams went 12 when the Lions traded up. That's what I'm saying. I wish they went Jameson instead of Olave.
Could be some concerns he's fully ready by the season after the injury.
Yeah. I mean,
which I get.
That would be the only concern. If he was healthy, I think he'd be the first one taken.
Probably, yeah.
But it tells you that I think that they trust Jameis and they like what they have with him at quarterback. So it's exciting.
Yep.
Yeah, that offense is now filled with Jameis, of course, as the head man, and now you've got Michael Thomas at wide receiver, Alvin Kamara, one of the best running backs in the league. You've still got Callaway too, and then now you add in Olave, doing pretty good. And I think they went offensive lineman too.
Do they have
Trevor Penning at 19?
Wow, isn't that? Never mind. I can't say anything about the Bucs.
Don't.
Yeah, but I can't say anything. I'll tell you what, that has been one of the hardest things about just keeping my mouth shut on what the Buccaneers did while Jameis was in Tampa. That has been one of the biggest things for me. And then definitely Tom Brady is the number one thing that is really, really rough for me, but I've done a really good job. You should have seen me, dude. I had so many really nasty tweets back in whenever SI offered.
Yeah, we
the
know
Bucs site.
over the last couple of years. Yeah,
I need to probably go check those soon. I probably need to go back and
should,
check those.
I probably should check as well. But Saints did pretty good on defense too. Bringing in Tyrann Mathieu, so they're once again set up to be a contender in the NFC South. They beat the Bucs 4 straight times in the regular season since Tom Brady got there. Obviously, Bucs beat them on the way to the Super Bowl in the playoffs in 2020, but it's going to be an interesting matchup in the division.
Yeah, I think getting Matthew with Jenkins retiring, is big for them. So.
Yeah, I just looked at some tweets, and I'm going to have to spend about an hour.
Read out the first 3.
Well, one of these, this was whenever Adam Scheffner said the new look and potent Buccaneers offense. This was back in 2020, and it showed Tom Brady, Ronald Jones, O.J. Howard, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin.
We don't need a description. Say what you tweeted.
I said Ronald Jones, who ? And O.J. Howard should be removed. I did say that.
Well, O.J. Howard did get removed. He is no longer on the Bucs, so a couple years early on that one.
Neither is Ronald Jones.
I'm looking through TweetDeck
Good job,
right now.
Logan, you predicted the future.
I did. Look at that. I am just absolutely on one, aren't I? No, I have to go to my phone to look up the actual tweets of Tom Brady, but yeah, no, I thought that was a good draft for Jameis, and him and Jordan Travis. Congratulations to them on graduating this past weekend.
And my brother, shout out.
Did you and Jameis have the same time duration in college?
No, I think he was Friday. Oh wait, yeah, technically, I beat him.
Yeah.
I beat him.
You beat Jameis? You need to have that out there.
Well, Jameis needs to shave that mustache off.
Yeah.
He's chilling right now. I think he's in grind mode.
Yeah.
He's got like that old look. He almost has that old.
You got the old man look.
Like that old FSU look, how he had.
It was good to see him still supporting the program too. You saw him stop by the Moore Center.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the most recent, what is it? The
Climb episode.
Yeah.
He stopped in the baseball broadcast studio during their game. That was pretty cool.
Yep.
Just cool, dude. Good to see him back through in Tallahassee. Love to see him maybe for a regular season game if the Saints have a bye, but we'll see what happens.
I mean, he could just go to that LSU game. It's already in New Orleans.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be shocked if he's going to be there for that.
Unless they have a preseason game somewhere.
I wonder what the preseason game may be. Anything else? Did everybody like their draft from their personal teams? Really just me and VZ did not like the Vikings. Nate, how did you like your Bears?
I didn't pay attention.
There you go. Good.
That's how much I dislike the Bears right now.
I love the Andrew Booth pick for the Vikings in the second round. To get him, I think it was at 43 or whatever. I thought that was great value.
Mm-hmm.
But then you take Ed Ingram in the second round, at the back in the second round, or maybe third. I forget. But he's got, I think it was a domestic assault charge that got dropped that there's still question marks about. He wasn't really that good at LSU. I think he was projected to go in like the hundreds, and you picked him at 59. I was bewildered by that one.
Yeah.
But I like the Caleb Evans pick from Missouri to get him in the 4th. I thought that was good value. Other than that, you could definitely tell it's a first year general manager doing first year general manager things.
I was honestly more focused on the Bucks.
Yeah, no, we all were. That was a experience that I'm glad that we have that's only once a year. I will just say that is a wild day because you're not only focused on that team alone, but you're focused on also what the divisional rivals are doing. So you're also almost covering 3 other teams. You're also grabbing interviews, quotes, videos. It's a whole different animal. I give props to all the media down there, and shout out to the media in Tampa. They were all so nice and welcoming. A little bit different than Tallahassee. A little bit bitter, but definitely shout out to all the Tampa media down there. Welcomed me in. Got to know Greg Allman, one of the legends there, and Rick Stroud also in there too. Just really nice, and it was a little bit different. I think in Tallahassee, the media, everybody's kind of off on their own, doing their own thing, working, but this whole weekend, it was nice for us all to be kind of in unison, helping one another out. If they were hearing anything, it was told out loud to everyone. It was definitely nice. But yeah, go back to what you're saying, Nate.
I was just gonna say it's a National Signing Day, but a weekend full of it.
That is true. I was not. So I was thinking Saturday I'd be like. For some reason, I thought I was going to get out of there at like 4 or 5 o'clock. I just completely thought that was going to happen for me. I was going to be like, I'll drive back. It's still going to be daylight. I think I left at 9:30 coming back to Tallahassee, but 100% worth it. The SIDs there with Tampa were great. So looking forward to be back down there soon.
It has to be a lot different than signing day because signing day you used to have somewhat of an idea. Draft's just a crapshoot, with so many trades and, there's so many prospects each team looks at. It's got to be hell.
Yeah, outside of the first round, it's just about impossible to predict.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it is. But yeah, no, I liked my Steelers picks. I got my quarterback, I guess, of the future. Like I said, I got to ride with them.
He'll be 30 in 5 years.
Hey, so. But I'm not going to go trust me. If we wouldn't have gotten a quarterback and all you had for me was Mitchell Trubisky, go ahead and throw a friggin' grenade in my mouth. I'll eat it and blow my friggin' head off if that was going to be the case. So I'm glad I have Kenny Pickett there at least. It helps it just a little bit.
I think Mitchell Trubisky will beat Kenny Pickett out for the starting job.
Think so,
I'm sure it will be, but I'd allow Kenny Pickett to get some good PT in this preseason. But Pickens, love it. And then Calvin Austin, I think, sign me up if that's just another steal coming from Memphis. So I'm about it. Because we lose
the guy who ran a 4.140, but they put him at 4.39 or whatever it was.
But end up running like an official 4.32, which is just silly, stupid.
Yep.
Sign me up. So I'm about it. Let's go and do some Noles that didn't get drafted, and a lot of fans were kind of shocked that Deshaun Corbin didn't get drafted.
I don't know where y'all were coming from last week when y'all said 3rd round. I was like, "There's no shot." I don't know where y'all were hearing that. I was like, maybe
I wasn't hearing it.
At best.
We were being hopeful.
Optimistic and hopeful for our guy Deshaun Corbin.
Y'all had the blinders on. This is what was happening there.
Yeah, I mean the problem is he came in undersized at the combine. I don't think he did a lot of testing at the combine. Didn't do great in drills, and then he came back to pro day and looked pretty average in my opinion. You look at Keir Thomas, he didn't even get the invite to the combine, and then pro day, I think he only got 19 or 20 in the bench press, which was a little bit of an underperform. Then he goes to run the 40 and ends up pulling a hammy or something, and didn't get to participate in the majority of drills. So
I think that
hurt him. That's what I said. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about.
I was talking about them both because those are really the only 2 guys that had a chance to get selected from Florida State.
I think what's more surprising than that is Parchment signing a 3-year deal.
Well, see, now that's all you. Yeah, see, that's something that we need to start putting out there on whenever we're tweeting these kind of deals things or whatever. That's for about 100 more other players, but that's not the case. It's just that's not guaranteed. It's just kind of just extra details that it's been the same for 20 plus.
Yeah, but still, years. the point is that
he's getting under UDFA.
But hey, Parchment, welcome to the Queen City. Welcome to Queen City of Charlotte. If you need something, let me know.
Shoes?
I'll hook you up. Come by the store. Come say what's up.
Damn. So we've been friends with Austin, Nate, for
You're
how
not in
long?
Charlotte,
And
are
like,
you?
Man's
you in
giving an
Charlotte?
undrafted free agent shoes over us.
yeah,
Are you in Charlotte?
Next week
No.
we'll have our dates for
I'm
the
gonna
NFL
drive
schedule.
up through Charlotte to get to Tennessee.
I
Come
don't
to
think
Charlotte.
that's the right way of doing
Yeah,
that.
that's adding 10 hours to your trip right there.
Whenever that schedule comes out next week for the NFL, I told you I'm gonna come up there and I'm gonna come stay with you.
That's cool.
But I do think
I'm not gonna come stay with you. I won't do that to you.
Corbin got about 120,000 guaranteed or something like that to sign with the
Mm-hmm.
Giants. So hopefully he can somehow latch on to a practice squad or a reserve role.
I can see him making that roster.
The thing that killed Corbin is he only ran a 4.6 40. Like that's what killed him.
I don't know what happened there. Maybe he's just got the foot when he's got the pads on. He runs faster. Maybe.
I don't know. 4.6.
Florida State hasn't had a
5'11"
get off kind of running back in a while. If you think about it, a get off. I mean, that would have been Wren, but that just didn't work out.
Something a scout told me a long time ago. Everyone's so enamored with speed, but if you run 4.5, 4.6, you can still play in the pros because you cut the tape on the guy's pull away speed. He completely just.
I think it was just his size at 4.6 because once he gets going, he's pretty fast. It just takes him a little bit to get going.
He just dominated, Kyle Hamilton, on the 89-yard run against Notre Dame, just blew right by him. So you cut the tape on. He's got the football speed, but the 40 is also just a trained exercise.
Yeah,
you got to be fast for sure, but it's also a trained exercise.
Yeah, there's definitely too much weight placed on the 40 and some of these other drills.
So Corbin to the New York Giants, Keir Thomas to the reigning Super Bowl champions Rams, Jordan Wilson. And I think it's going to be competitive. I mean, he's going to learn a lot, most certainly. But if he can make that roster there, he is in a really good spot. He joins Jalen Ramsey also. Jordan Wilson to the Bengals. We've got Parchment, of course, to the Panthers. Vontae Love-Taylor is getting a minicamp invite from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Emmett Rice also to the New York Giants, too. So a lot of opportunities guys are getting. We're still waiting on Miko Dotson here.
And DeCamon Brooks.
And Mackenzie Belton.
Yeah, but you can't forget DeCamon.
I'm just, yeah.
DeCamon Brooks will succeed in life. Just not on the field.
There's a lot of new opportunities though now. You got XFL coming up. You've got USFL going on. There's always been there's CFL. There's also like this new
Fan Control Football League.
Yeah, that like with Quavo and all of them. Cam Newton, they've got teams.
And Terrell Owens.
There's a lot of opportunities.
45 years old.
Yeah, no, which I do like, man. A lot of opportunities for these players. I like Jordan Wilson though in Cincinnati, and I hate it, but I'm not. I hate the Bengals, but I do like Jordan Wilson over there because his primary talent there is blocking, and they like having those big size tight ends. So I do like Jordan Wilson there. I hope he does well. And his scouts were very high on him too during the fall when they were watching practices.
Yeah, I think he and DLT are both on a tryout basis for that mini camp, so they have to do well enough to get invited to training camp. So we'll see how that goes for them. But it's crazy to me, you've got 9 draft eligible players and only 2 of them are from Florida State. It really just reflects on the roster development and all of the attrition over the last couple of years. And also, 7 of those guys being transfers, how much Florida State has had to rely going into the transfer portal and pulling guys out. And it also shows where the roster is with only 1 guy getting drafted.
But let's blame Norvell. He is going to year 3. He has to be held accountable for what's going on. At the same time, what we see now is just a end result of everything that's led up to it. So, but they got to win in order to get that. It's a double-edged sword. You're not going to get the talent unless you win. So,
yep.
And if you don't have the money.
Well, I think that's kind of been put to the wayside. I think that there's money there and there's opportunity there. I think that FSU's going to be there to compete with everyone. It's just they need a Bentley dealership like we were talking about when they, when we came on. It was Austin. Was it you, Austin, that said no one wants a Honda Civic deal?
Yeah, no one wants a Honda Civic NIL deal with Bijan Robinson getting Lamborghini deals at Texas.
Yeah. I mean, that's not oil money. But, but
I know we're gonna have to start having agents, and now you're seeing some of these Twitter people just posting out NIL deal, $3 million, $2 million, like Ian Rappaport and friggin' Adam Scheffner. We're gonna start seeing tweets about NIL deals and college football.
Henry Jones got $75,000 from Arizona State. For what? What do you deserve that?
To throw 3 interceptions in a quarter. I'm sorry, Emery.
I don't like the tampering, but that cannot happen. You can still pay the players. So everyone that thinks that those two have to coincide are a little bit ridiculous and old school. But Emory Jones. So Arizona State just replaces who they had with the same player in Emory Jones. So, but whatever. But no, I mean. Any listeners out there that have a Bentley dealership, then need to go ahead and come to Tallahassee.
Yeah, let's get to work.
Get to work.
Dustin, this one right here because you put out a piece on this. We put it out today. This is a question from Carol on Facebook. What are your thoughts about the new ruling supposedly coming out in 2 weeks about the changing of total number of scholarships you could have every year by possibly adding more? We could benefit from it if it happens.
Yeah, it's a really interesting proposal, and it looks like it's going to be a temporary proposal. They're going to discuss it and vote on it in a couple weeks, and if it gets passed, it'll be a 2-year plan. Basically, cut the scholarship limit in recruiting every year. This year it got moved up to 32 with a temporary rule. Typically it's 25, so you can add 100 scholarships over a 4-year period. But now you cut that out completely. And I mean, theoretically, teams could bring in as many scholarship players as they wanted from high school and the transfer portal combined. So if you want to sign 40 or 50 guys, you could. But at the same time, you still have to fit it into that 85 scholarship roster limit. That's not going to be going away. So, there's different avenues, I would say, but you look at the back end of Florida State's roster, there's still a lot of non-contributors, some recruiting bust, and they're trying to flip that. And if you have more scholarships, we were talking about, I think a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, about how many guys you could take in 2023. Now, theoretically, it doesn't matter as long as you have enough guys outgoing from the program. So we'll see how that goes and how FSU decides to operate if that rule does get passed.
Who's going to benefit the most from that?
The good teams.
Yep. No, Nick Saban's going to just feast on that.
Well, the transfer portal, I could only imagine, would just be a complete frenzy. We think it's crazy now, but if you're just loading up on players and one team like that, I mean, it's already wild now, but it'd just be a whole complete shit show.
Yep. All this stuff is going to get mandated in some form or fashion. But, for like you said, for a program like Florida State that's looking to turn this roster, it's very beneficial. But now they're going to have to compete with, Alabama that can take 495 players and take it, the top 100 is going to be Texas A&M, Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, and a few other schools. So this is where, the money side of FSU has to start to come to the forefront.
And
they have to be very, very, upfront about what they had to offer in order to compete, if that's going to happen.
We're also seeing, I think it's the SEC and Big Pac-12 commissioner trying to go to Congress about trying to get NIL mandates, which I don't know what they'll be able to do at this point. We talked about it when NIL first got enacted. That it's going to run rampant because there's no regulations, nothing. And these last 10 months have been insane for not just college football, but college basketball as well. So I don't know if there's going to be anything they can do to, kind of reverse these effects. Obviously, you want the kids to make their money. But it's different right now. It's different.
I wonder if they're going to cap it. You can only have X amount of dollars given out per year or limit per player, or they're going to do something to try to even
I feel like if
playing
you try to
field.
limit it though, you're gonna get some kind of issue.
Yeah, but I mean,
then it goes back to under the table.
Yeah, it goes back to under the
Yeah.
table, so that doesn't really change it. You know, the money now is just in the forefront. I think what we're just seeing now. I disagree with Jimbo Fisher saying that, you know, Texas A&M's class, without me, just dogging the guy, but Texas A&M's class was what it was because of NIL. So,
I'll bring this up now. We'll jump over to this. But speaking of NIL and all the collectives and such, it was announced today from Warpath 850, the collective there, along with Rising Spear, which you guys can go back.
850, you idiot.
850? It's the same friggin' thing.
It's
Warpath.
not. You got to say 850. Jesus.
850 is what I drink at Proof. And Proof, if you ever want to sponsor
you
a
can
podcast,
read it right on that bottle.
Well, that's because it's spelled 850. EIGHT -FIVE-O. That's how that drink is spelled. This is Warpath 850.
Well, maybe they couldn't get that trademark. Sounds like it was taken.
Warpath 850. Check the trademark licensing site for us, Dustin, while you're at it here. But anyways, they're Rising Spear and Warpath 850. There you go, Dustin. Are combining forces now. This is going to be supposedly the first time inside one institution, Florida State, where this is going to happen between two collectives. As always, 100% of the proceeds are going to all of the student athletes. I think this is just kind of a good way to merge forces. And, behind it, you see Mackenzie Melton with Dreamfield Co. Doing a lot of work too, being very hands-on. And he's also, of course, the co-founder. But very important to him, he said in a quote, this is an important step forward to each organization as well as the student athletes. We're looking forward to working with Rising Spear to implement a program that brings as many NIL compliant deals to each one of them through Rising Spear and Dreamfield. So it seems like they're trying to combine forces here. This is kind of just going to be the way, I think, for a lot of colleges and institutions outside. As we know, Florida State can't be hands-on involved here and such, but
not yet.
Yeah, you can't be on it. Matthew Quigley, one of the now recently named CEO. I will say Matthew, whenever he was on our show a couple weeks ago, he was not named the CEO, but now recently named CEO of Rising Spear says this is this is an exciting merger between Rising Spear and Warpath 850. It will create a strong, unified membership platform to benefit Seminole student athletes. We look forward to welcoming all Warpath 850 subscribers with a reminder that the student athletes receive 100% of all donations collected by Rising Spear. So, combining forces. Yeah, cool stuff. Good. I think it's good for the student athletes for sure.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think it's a good thing because, we've seen now Rising Spear, Warpath 850. I can't remember the one that James Coleman introduced, but you had 3 FSU NIL collectives in one space. And it's just kind of like, are you potentially bogging down the market at that point and taking money away from other ones? So now by combining these two collectives, all the fans that were donating to both are now donating to a single entity. All the athletes that were under both are now together under one entity. And I think that's going to be beneficial moving forward.
James is, God, I hope I don't screw this name up. Micah Nope, 1851. Micah Nope, 1851, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. But.
Micah Nope. It's Indian.
Oh, okay. Micah Nope. Micah Nope, 1851, but his is more, and I like James's because he's a businessman, but he's primarily focusing in on helping the student athlete when they're going through their endeavors with business deals, finding those kind of, if you're doing influencer deals through social media if you're trying to do repping some kind of brand, trying to go through those wavelengths of being hands-on, directing these student athletes, which is, I definitely think, much needed, to where, you have these other collectives and such doing that and trying to drive to get those opportunities for the players. But now I think, like I said, James, he's a former player. He wants to kind of be more hands-on. We'll have James on this offseason to go more deep into this. But from what I kind of read off of what he sent us, it seems like those are more of kind of helping direct those players and to not get into the wrong folk, because that's the biggest thing. That's been my biggest concern with all this NIL stuff. You've got college kids and you've got all these different kinds of brands and all this money coming at you, all these contracts, but you don't have someone there by your side to help you read through these and these documents before you sign your name off. And God knows what you're getting yourself into.
That's the thing I like most about James's venture, is that he's helping these guys make smart decisions that aren't going to put them in a bad spot by not reading the fine print or not paying attention on who's who. So the other stuff, I don't care, man. Just get the money to the players so they can compete and get good again.
Tom is reminding me on the Facebook comments that it's the area code. I do know it is the area code, but I did say it wrong. So I do apologize to all of and I'm a local here in Tallahassee, so I do apologize to.
Thank you.
Really, I'm just apologizing to myself for having that incorrect statement on the name of Warpath 850. So I apologize to myself. Let's talk about the Charlotte offensive line transfer, and we'll jump it over to basketball to finish it off. Charlotte offensive lineman who had 25 starts in a game, Dimitri Emmanuel, has decided to enter the transfer portal. 6'2", 305 pounds, I've been told from a source we put in the Discord a couple of days ago, but I'm expecting Florida State to kick the tires here and pursue. And you got to immediately think about the ties with Florida State's offensive line coach / co-offensive coordinator Alex Atkins here, and think that Florida State's got a pretty significant play here if they do indeed pushing to grab Dimitri and to Tallahassee into the fold on Florida State's offensive line. And we know Florida State most likely wants to add to that line, because from what we saw in the spring, there's got to be some kind of built there depth-wise. It wasn't really fun to watch this past spring. You still got your starting front, and you feel pretty good about that. But man, if someone drops, you need someone to go in there. But Dimitri Emmanuel now available. What are y'all's thoughts on him, D-Lou?
Yeah, this is an interesting one because, you would really love to pull an offensive tackle out of the portal and shift one of those guys you have out at tackle right now potentially down to guard. But you can't really be picky if you're Florida State at this stage. And Emmanuel is an experienced guy who has played a lot of football, and he's played under Coach Atkins before. Interesting, when I was doing my research, this guy, he was a 2-year reserve. Then Atkins gets there for that 1 year in 2019. He starts 12 games and has continued ever since. Started his last 25 appearances at Charlotte, and he's played all over the offensive line. I mean, both guard spots, both tackle spots. I think if he was to come to Florida State, like you said, Logan, 6'2", 305, he's probably slotting in at one of those guard spots for you. You've got Dylan Gibbons fairly locked down on that left side, so he would be in the competition for that spot on the right. But definitely interesting because, like you said, you need depth there. You feel pretty good about your top 6, 7 guys, but you'd really love to have 8 or 9 that you're feeling comfortable with in the event of injuries, which are going to happen in the 12-game season. And we saw it last year when guys went out, the offensive line play fell off a cliff, and you're hoping to not have that happen as often this upcoming season.
I think it's a move that would kick Washington back out to tackle. I think that's where at the Atlanta. I think that's your starting 5. I agree with Dustin. I really would prefer to land a true tackle from the portal if needed. But if you're gonna try to have a 1-year stopgap, you bring this guy in as a guard. Like Dustin said, he's played tackle also, but I think 6'2" is not big enough. Clearly to play tackle in Power 5. But multiple starts as a guard, and he's been very effective. So, if anything, that allows them to put Washington back at right tackle and gives you a pretty solid starting five.
And at the very least, he comes in and he's one of your top reserves off the bench. So, and also one quick note, he's a grad transfer, so this will not affect FSU scholarship limit in 2023, which makes even more sense because you're not losing a spot for next year.
Yep, exactly. You bring him in and doesn't hurt your count there, and you add depth if needed, most certainly, and you could push out even. Like we said, Washington. Offensive line, the second string, we'll talk about it a lot this offseason, but, I'm sure they're still waiting. There's definitely some more. You're seeing a few Alabama offensive linemen now hit the transfer portal. There's going to be guys all around the country, I think, now that spring is fully wrapped up and guys figuring out some things in their future. There's going to be some opportunities there. So, it depends. But this is not a thing where, I don't necessarily have to wait. You can either take them now and jump on it and get them. But like you said, it doesn't hurt your count. I think it's worth noting, too, this just came out, of course, while we're talking about it, from Ross Dellinger, fellow Sports Illustrated, our guy over there, just broke the news that there's new NIL guidelines that will be retroactive coming soon. Schools with boosters who have communicated with players before they have signed with programs would be sanctioned. Guidelines are expected to be published next week. So the NCAA starting to crack in a little bit on all this NIL stuff.
All talk.
Starting to crack a little bit.
They're going to catch Louisiana Monroe, gave $50 to some guy. They're going to get banned from the postseason for 10 years, but Alabama's going to keep it going, baby.
Kirby Smart's going to keep dropping those bags.
That kind of stuff is so hard to govern. Like, how can you really judge if a booster's been talking to them before they sign a contract? Like,
you got. Are they really going to be pulling phone records and stuff? No,
There's no way.
Yeah, so interested to see what that would be. I thought it was just worth noting after we talked about the NIL stuff that supposedly there's some new I love how it's guidelines. We're going to start off with guidelines, then maybe next year or like 6 months from now, we'll talk about rules. And then after rules,
and eventually we'll get bylaws.
Yeah, bylaws. Then we'll go vote. So probably about 4 or 5 years from now, we should figure everything out, guys. Feels pretty good. Sounds good. Let's talk about TJ Davis real quick. Florida State defensive lineman. Got the news today that medically disqualified here. Don't think it impacts Florida State in 2022, nor do I think it impacts at all Florida State's defensive end group. I actually had, I tweeted out today that I was just thinking about it, and I'm really excited to watch Florida State's defense after what we saw this spring. And, I talked about Florida State's defensive end room, and I'm really excited for that. Definitely if Pat Payton makes that stride, because I already feel really good about Briggs. You've got Verse, and, of course, you've got Derek McLendon. But I feel really good about that room. And then heading into 2023, if Dante Anderson makes that next step. But I don't think TJ Davis here is a major loss for Florida State. I will say, I won't say anything. I would just say it was I won't say anything. I don't know if I can say anything, so I'm just going to play it smart and don't say anything. Haven't had our wrist slapped on anything in a long time, so I went through the spring smooth, and I'm just going to continue to do that. But I will say, don't think impacts too much. You look at guys like Bishop Thomas, Daniel Lyons, those two guys who impressed a little bit. And, there wasn't a major spring for them, but for guys coming in as freshmen that acclimated very well, there you go. You got those two guys, so don't be too worried about your defensive line in there.
For me, it's just another reason why you bring in as many big guys as you can, because, it's 50-50 whether they, develop and turn into something in college, and injuries derailed his career. So, but he was low on the depth chart, such is life. So, moving on.
Don is saying on YouTube that Florida State has to beat everyone this season and go 11-0.
No, I think like 12-0.
Yeah. What's wrong with 12-0? 11-0 just seems way down too low. 12-0 though sounds a lot better.
Is it predicting a hurricane cancellation?
Yeah, maybe. There's always one of those every 3 years.
Maybe they're just not counting the Duquesne game.
Sadly, nowadays you do have to start counting those.
No. I think it's the Hurricane game, like Miami. Just coming in there with an 87-point favorite. I think that it's just not going to be much of a game for.
Not even worth putting on the win column.
No, it's a clear W.
Timmy's going in here, meaning depth purpose for TJ Davis. I don't think that was the factor. Definitely for not defensive end. If you want to talk about Quashon Fuller, yeah, most certainly for depth. But for TJ Davis, I don't think anybody on here nor in the comments and the fan base should be too worried about TJ Davis not being available for Florida State in 2022. If I can speak correctly.
Yeah. Not a whole lot to say on the kid. He was a member of that transitional class for Mike Norvell of not a high profile, but a riser as a senior late in the recruiting process. Florida State was able to get him over Georgia Tech. And like Nate said, he got banged up and struggled with his development a little bit. Didn't end up playing a snap at Florida State, but I believe he was the defensive scout team player of the year, maybe during the fall or something like that. But
2020.
Yeah. So, but on the interior of that defensive line, he wasn't primed to make much of an impact anyway. As long as those top 4 guys stay healthy, it's not a big loss.
Hey,
and Florida State.
Dustin, Austin, real quick, pull up that class.
Which class?
The transition class. Norvell's first class, 2020, and over half of it's got to be gone now.
Yeah, just starting from the top. DeMaurier Tate's still on campus, but then the next 3 are gone. Brian Robinson, Chuba Purdy, Jadarius Green-McKnight. And you have Toa Feely, Stephen Dix, Kai Douglas still there. Corey Wren gone. Kentron Portier is there, but leaning on out. Jayon McCluster, I don't know off the top of my head. You guys would know better than I would.
He gone.
He's gone.
Robert Scott, Sidney Williams, both guys that everyone's really high on coming into this season. Then it gets real rough with Josh Griffiths. Thomas Schrader, Tate Rodemaker, Darren Williamson. There's a lot of names. Damn.
25 in that class.
Yeah. Zane Harry and LaDamian Webb, which that was technically.
No, that hurts my heart. LaDamian Webb.
Carter Boatwright, who left after 1 season?
2 seasons.
2 seasons. DJ Lundy's still there. Lloyd Willis still there. TJ Davis just left. Markston Douglas. Not a name I know off the top of my head. Y'all would know.
Still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the punter. So.
Timmy's talking about no, Logan. I mean, do we get a D defense? No, TJ Davis was not a specific defensive end player for Florida State, so I don't think they're going to go.
I don't think they go to the portal to get another DN. I think there's, you still have to kick the tires on the quarterback. In my opinion, you have to find 1 to maybe 2 offensive linemen. And do you look at linebacker or defensive back from the portal? I think that's, in my opinion, the path they go.
But it is important to clarify that with Davis being medically disqualified, it does open up another scholarship for Florida State. So they were sitting at 81 before this. Now they're at 80 out of 85. Currently, you have 5 more spots to add players before the fall.
I'll just state on here, I don't think it's going to be dramatic or anything, but I did not see TJ Davis a lot this spring. So it's worth noting there. I don't think that's too that might have been whatever. You see Norvell going in and talking with a lot of these guys too. And, this is the part of the game, and he's shaping up for what hopefully will be a minimum of a 7-win, hopeful 8-win kind of season. So, like I said, it could be preparing for 2023 and kind of having some good conversations in those meeting rooms and trying to prepare for what could be ahead. So we'll see. Got to hope for the best, though. Basketball, BZ, I know there's nothing much too crazy here, but a high-profile target for sure. But maybe Florida State not having a big chance here for Julian Phillips.
Yeah, 1 week from today, Julian Phillips will decide his commitment. He released the top 7 yesterday of Auburn, Florida State, South Carolina, USC, Tennessee, and then 2, I guess, professional leagues in the G League and Overtime Elite. I'm gonna let you know now, of the 7 options, I'm pretty sure we're 8th. I was surprised we made the list. Honestly, there wasn't a lot of smoke recently from Florida State side. I think even just visited Kansas State, and the fact they weren't on this list was kind of surprising. I think the 2-1. I'm pretty sure I know where he's going. I'll just say it's not going to be. I don't think it's one of the pro leagues, and it's not Florida State. And then y'all can figure it out from there.
Tennessee.
Y'all can figure it out from there.
Tennessee.
Or join the Discord because we've been talking about it in the Discord a lot.
Get in the Discord.
Florida State.
He's going to surprise everyone and pull out a Florida State hat.
Listen, if he does, I'm going to do a backflip. Even like.
We'll film that.
He's going to go the Lorenzo Booker route. Going to get up on that podium and realize where his heart is, where he should have went in the first place.
I mean,
it's not going to happen. But
I love it if he did, but it's not happening.
Yeah,
and then he's going to get paid to go to Tennessee. But anyway.
Yeah. That's how it usually works. Yeah, so don't give your hopes up too much, FSU fans. Like it's happened multiple times this last 3 or 4 months. As usual here in Tallahassee.
Last 8 months with basketball recruiting.
How do you feel about I was going to tag in the tweet. There was something I saw somewhere about FSU being number 23 in the preseason for basketball.
I feel like it's high for right now.
They should be unranked.
I think they're one of those teams that's on the cusp of being a top 25 team. They just, if Butler's leaving, you got to fill that spot somehow with an impact guy. Because I really like 8 to 9 of these guys, but you got to get one more real true talented guy that can come in and play 20, 25 minutes. Especially a guy that can play 3 through 4. Maybe even 5 if you need to, but I kind of like the bodies there for right now. And if you get Malik Osborne back, which I know he put his name in the draft, but he's been really quiet. If you can get him back for a super senior year, that helps a lot next year. Just to have some kind of veteran leadership.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit too early. 23.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know yet. But yeah, I think that wraps it up. Like I said, we're going to hopefully get a nice lineup of guests for you guys. I feel like we're saying that every week now, but we're definitely going to have someone on next week because right now it's looking completely dry. Now that the NFL draft is over, that took care of 30 minutes for us. But now if this was just all we had was NIL collective talk, which I'm sorry, but I can only do about 5 minutes of that and then get me the F out. And then number 2, if we're talking about just about the same thing over and over again, then just get me the F out again. So we're going to hopefully get some guests in here to entertain you guys.
We can do a Kenny Pickett podcast. I'm down. You down, Austin?
I would love it. I'm always down for NFL draft talk.
Future offensive rookie of the year is what I'm hearing. I can talk about that. Give me.
The question is, can he hold the NFL football? That's what I need.
The question is, can he?
I'm hearing that he can
for a starting job.
I can't believe I lose Big Ben, and this is what I come to. Like, what are we doing? I was supposed to have Jameis, and that just completely fell through.
You're supposed to have Jameis, then you're supposed to have Malik Willis, and now Trubisky and Kenny Pickett.
What are we doing? I feel like Colbert, he's leaving, so I think that our GM screwed us. I think he did this on purpose.
Are they trying to force out Tomlin?
That might be it.
Bring him back to Minnesota.
I'll take Tomlin in Chicago.
No, you don't get him.
Y'all I guess we both just got a coach, but
no, yeah, you
can't. I'll fire him for Mike Tomlin.
Of course, y'all would take Tomlin. Of course, y'all would.
Hey, Tomlin came from Minnesota, though. He was our linebackers coach.
Linebacker coach.
Yep. Bring him back to Minnesota.
Bone in, says Tom. Bone in, Nate. Bone in, bone.
Whatever happened to the Boneless Buddies hypebeast video?
Dang, that fell off.
That is.
Where's the theme song? I thought we had plans. I thought we had merchandise coming.
We got a little caught up with spring cleaning, but by the fall we're gonna be shifting it out. We've been trying to find retailers that will take it.
I still have the design being made. I got caught up in work. It is coming.
All right.
Before the fall, we will have shirts for the fall.
I better see him in Louisiana. Well,
you guys don't even want to talk about that yet. You guys are trying to wait till October 29th.
October 29th.
Yeah.
God, the season's gonna be. That's only like 2 weeks before the FSU's football seasons usually end in November. So okay, that was too bad. I gotta stop.
No, that was truthful.
I mean, it's truthful. Yeah, it's truthful. It does suck. I'm tired of that.
Basketball season starts. That's a real season right there.
Oh God, Jesus Christ! Please get me out. I see enough NBA playoff.
I've already told you that the stars are in line. Basketball is going to take the back seat.
I don't think they are.
And football is coming back.
If the stars were aligned, Mims would have been in Tallahassee.
So John Butler can go to the G League for 10 years. Malik Osborne can go over to Europe and play basketball. Julian Phillips can go to Tennessee, and basketball can go ahead.
If the stars were aligned, Mims would be at Florida State. Jermaine Johnson would have gone top 10. Jared Thomas would have gotten drafted.
Florida State can go back to being Vanderbilt of the ACC when it comes to basketball, because that's going to happen.
Rough. That's a rough comparison.
Man, that's tough.
You know that was rough.
And once every 10 years, you'll get a Charlie Ward or Bobby Sura to come in and make you a first round exit team, but it's happening.
Damn, that's tough. Jeez.
Get your team over 500. We'll talk then.
It's getting brutal out here. It is getting brutal. I'm looking forward to Louisiana weekend. It's going to be a long weekend.
I hope I can come down.
Hope so.
Ain't no hope about it.
Yeah, you just make the drive, buddy.
Drive?
I mean, don't drive. Actually, never mind. I forgot. That's not near you. That's not near you.
13-hour drive. No thanks.
Road trip. Yeah, a little road trip. That's what you need to do.
No
is that
I know, man.
Is that the new tattoo?
Yeah, itches, dude.
Yeah, I got the itches.
Yeah, but
oh no.
You should go to Tallahassee. We'll road trip together, the four of us.
Yeah. Oh, could you imagine?
I don't even think we'll get out of Tallahassee.
No. First exit. I'm out. Give me the Uber.
Oh, never mind. It's only 11-hour drive. It's not that bad.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Go ahead and make the drive down there. For sure. Come on.
I'm driving 8 to Nashville. You can do it.
Okay, 8 and 11 is a big difference.
I mean, it's
like
once you get above 6, it starts hurting.
Once you get above 8, it's rough.
All right, we're done.
Oh yeah, actually, this is a really good point here. Yeah. If the stars were aligned, Travis Hunter would be here, Nate.
Great point. And Marvin Jones Jr. would be here.
Oh God, Jesus!
Right,
Let's
guys.
don't even go back through depressing. Time to start drinking.
No, he wants to go there. I'll go there.
And Tyree West.
God, Jesus.
And Trevion Williams. And Wesley Basaint.
Nah, that was never going to happen.
Kevin Coleman.
That was never going to happen.
What a rough slate.
Nico Marchio.
Oh, no, not Nico.
No, not Nico. Nico.
No.
The stars are lined and Chuba Purdy would have stayed.
Noodle on the left arm to West Virginia.
Oh, damn. Jesus. Poor Nico.
That's like Hear the Spirit alum. Come on.
And
he is.
Yeah. Well, Deion's also a Hear the Spirit alum.
Yeah, Deion can.
Yeah. The podcast before we start getting too reckless.
Yeah. This is going to go sideways real quick.
Yeah, no, but yeah, enjoy the rest of y'all's weekend. We're gonna hopefully collect a lot of guests for you guys. Dustin's working the lines, working the emails, but so far not so good. So we're hoping that he'll able to draw us in a bass here. I know Odell Higgins would for us, but Dustin's taking a little bit longer than expected. So I might have to jump in there and do a few things to get the ball rolling. I don't know.
Be the first thing you've done in a while.
Damn, geez. I got to edit this podcast with your ass on it, so it's going to take a little bit. That's one.
You haven't edited one of these podcasts in about 3 years.
Ouch.
I've got to go in and put in the intro to these things. This thing is not easy.
Oh, man.
It's not editing.
And I've got to snippet a good part of this podcast, which is actually the hardest part, is finding a good 10 seconds that we're not saying something idiotic or stupid or cussing. So we'll be all right. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. Oh, wait. That's what I was going to say. Nate, you're a big fight guy. Amazing weekend for fights. We've got UFC night on Saturday. And what's other screwball name? I don't know him, but great UFC fight card. I love
Gaethje.
Gaethje?
Yes. Who's the other guy? Come on.
It.
It's a great fight weekend. You should know the fights.
It's a great fight card. Oliveira. There you go. Oliveira. Yeah. Oliveira.
And who else is fighting? Rose Nunez and who?
Nunez isn't fighting, is she?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nunez. No, not Nunez. It's Rose Namajunas.
Yeah.
Namajunas? Yeah, Namajunas and Carla. Yeah, it's a woman's start.
Esperanza?
Yeah, we got another championship for a belt.
Well,
that's the one I'm most excited for.
What about the other fight?
The girl fight is going to be amazing.
What about the other fight? Tony Ferguson and Michael Chandler. That's going to be a great fight.
Yeah, that would be a lot of striking. Which I like.
That's going to be just a 3-round ass whipping for each guy. There's gonna.
All right.
Well, no, sorry. No, I'm going. Gaethje gets third round knockout. I'm going Thug Rose, and I'm going Chandler takes out Ferguson. I think Ferguson's done.
Okay. And then we all got Canelo for Sunday, I'm guessing.
I don't watch boxing. Boxing sucks.
Oh, get him out.
I agree.
Get out of here. No, there's nothing better than a good.
Did
y'all not watch the women's one this past weekend?
Can we stop talking about
that? Was incredible. That was a great fight. And then Kentucky Derby. Who y'all got? Which horse y'all got?
Whichever one breaks a leg.
Oh my god!
I look at the names until 5 minutes before they start.
The Kentucky Derby is a bucket list trick, though. That'd be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I could only imagine being there, just absolutely trashed.
Yeah, man, getting KFC in Kentucky.
The names to watch out for, the special one is Zandon, 3-1 odds right now. There's Epicenter, there's Messier, there's White Abarrio, there's
who's
Mo.
the trainer?
Hold up, I'm singing. These are great names. These are always the best part. Mo Donegal, Taba, Smile Happy is 20-1 right now. Crown Pride, Charge It, Simplification, Cyberknife. Cyberknife is 20-1. Zozo's. Yeah, Cyberknife is a badass name. Zozo's, Happy Jack, Summers Tomorrow, Tis the Bomb, Pioneer Medina, Barber Road, Classic Causeway, Tawny Port, and last one, the one that if you want to make some bank on, 30-1 odds is at 3-roll road. At 3-roll road. I don't know what that means.
Well, 30-1 is not that awful. There's been 85-1. You know, that's not that. It sounds like it's a pretty competitive field.
So who you're going with? Cyberknife?
Yeah, it's because I like the name.
Do these horses? Do they have an actual name, or do they respond to? So if I'm sitting there like, hey, Cyberknife,
who's Cyberknife? Come here.
Is it coming here, or do I have to call it Dave or something?
No,
that's my
Dave.
Like a horse name.
No, that's
just like
just
like Dustin said earlier with having a weapon of a diploma in your hand. I don't understand that. I don't understand that.
It's right there.
That's gonna be your opening clip right there.
That is, I know. The Jameis Winston and the weapon of the diploma in his hand is going to probably be our intro to this exciting podcast.
Your degree is your greatest weapon in life.
How'd it do for you?
Hey, I mean,
look at me now.
Got a pretty cool job.
Didn't you say you
make terrible money?
It? Damn. Well,
yeah, it's going well. I'm living the dream. Lots of debt. No.
Well, oh God, Jesus.
The American dream.
We need to go before Dustin has an existential crisis.
Yeah, no, golly. All right, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the sports and all that kind of frenzy. Hit the like button, subscribe. We'll talk to you guys next Thursday evening with, end quote, guest. We'll see what happens. You never know. Adios. Peace.
Mama told me not to sell word. 17.5, same color t-shirt. Mama told me not to sell word. 17.5, same color t-shirt. Mama told me not to sell word. 17.5, same color t-shirt. Mama told me not to sell word. 17.